Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay. Well, let's learn English together. And hello there, people. Welcome back to the Let's Speak English studio. How are you all today? Is everything fine? Is everything great? Is everyone ready? Good. Then let's get stuck in to today's lesson. Now, what have we been looking at this week? Who can remember? That's right. This week, we cast our eyes back a little bit and had another look at how we express the idea of strong obligation in English using have to. Now, once again, we looked at the golden rule. We use have to with other people, not must. We have to be careful when we use must. It's very easy to offend people when we use must. So, well, the simplest way to avoid trouble is to use must when we're talking about ourselves. I must phone my mum tomorrow. It's her birthday. But when we're talking to other people, I think we should use have to. You have to go to bed now. Tomorrow's a school day. Right, now, what else did we look at this week? Well, when we looked at have to, we also checked that we all remember how we make the different forms. Must is easy. Must never changes. It doesn't matter what the subject is. I, you, Loretta, they. It makes no difference to must. Must doesn't change. Must isn't like a verb in the present simple tense. We don't have to worry about adding an S to the end of must in the third person singular, for example. But there are restrictions with must. Must, for example, has no past form. So, if we want to talk about extra strong obligation in the past, then we have to use something else, don't we? And what is it that we have to use? Correct. We have to use have to. Now, have to is a little more complex than must. Must is just subject, followed by must, followed by a verb in the infinitive without to. Simple. The negative form of must is also very easy. Subject, followed by must not or mustn't, followed by a verb in the infinitive without to. Okay, so that's must. Simple, isn't it? Yes. Okay, so have to is slightly more complex, isn't it? Yes. With have to, what's the one big difference between using have to and must? Can anyone remember? Yes, with have to, we have to. Hey! Have to. Sorry. With have to, we have to conjugate, don't we? Okay, so that means that when we use have to, we have to, hey, have to, sorry. That means we have to conjugate a little bit, because we only have to conjugate have to when we're using it in the present, don't we? And what do we all remember about conjugating the verb to have in the present simple? That's right, extra biscuits for you all. The verb to have is irregular, isn't it? Yes, the verb to have is irregular, and there are two forms, which is simple, really. Okay, great. So, as we can see, and as we all know, all we have to be careful with is the fact that the verb changes in the third person singular. Simple. Now, what about the negative for have to? Who remembers? how do we form the negative with have to? Bingo! We need an auxiliary verb, don't we? Yes. And which auxiliary verb do we need? Good. Yes, we need the verb do to help us. To help us make negatives with have to. And what does that mean? Yes, correct again. That means that we have to conjugate again. But. We have to remember that now, when we're conjugating to make the negative, we have to conjugate the auxiliary verb, not have to. Okay, so we have to conjugate fine, but we have to remember to conjugate the right verb. With the negative form of have to, we conjugate the auxiliary verb and we leave have to alone. Okay, well, seeing as we're talking about using the auxiliary verb with have to, that leads us to the question form. Because, yes, as you all remember, we need the auxiliary verb do to make the question form using have to. What's the one thing where must and have to become very different in meaning? Does anyone remember? Yes. Well done. The only place where the meaning changes is when we look at the negative forms for have to and must. When we make the negative form of must, we get the mirror opposite of must. If we use must, it means that if you don't do something, then you're in trouble. And if we add not to must, then we get the opposite idea. Now, if you don't do something, then you'll be in trouble, like Neil.
Listen, Neil, you better get all this cleared up before the first guests arrive, or you're into rubble. You're into rubble.
Okay, so now let's think about what happens when we think about the same idea with have to. When we use have to in the positive form, then it means the same as must in the positive. If you don't do something, then you're in trouble. But, and here's where things go a bit bananas. When we add not to the equation and make the negative version of have to, we don't get the mirror image. We get a different animal altogether. When we add not to have to, we get don't or doesn't have to. And the interesting thing is that now it means that there is no obligation. The obligation has been removed. Now, if we don't do something, nothing happens. No one cares, and no one will be in trouble. Okay, so it's time for us to practice. Complete the following sentences. On your marks, Richie. Set. Go, 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 baby.
All right, I'll give it a go. On your marks, Richie. Set. Go, 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 baby.
Have a look at the first one as an example. Number 1. Gordon, you turn off your car engine when you're filling up at a petrol station. Okay, so what do we think? Well, that one is a pretty aggressive sentence. Gordon is doing something dangerous. He's trying to fill his car up and he hasn't turned the engine off. The car engine is still running. So, because the situation is full of drama and panic, I think the correct answer is must. Gordon, you must turn off your car engine when you're filling up at a petrol station. Okay, and on we go. 2. We, negative, ring the doorbell. I've got a key. 3. You, negative, check for a gas leak with a cigarette lighter. 4. You, negative, clean the windows. I bought a window cleaning robot. 5. The Queen is allergic to potatoes. If she eats just one potato, she'll die. The chef, negative, put any potatoes in the salad. 6. My parents went to the cinema tonight. I, look after my younger brother and sister. 7. My father is as old as the hills. He has enough money, so he negative work, but he still has a job. Okay, let's check those together and see if we all agree on the answers, shall we? Okay, we know that number 1 uses must. It's an aggressive sentence, filled with panic. Imagine the scene. You're sitting in the passenger seat of Gordon Taylor's car at a petrol station. And Gordon got out of the car and started to fill the petrol tank with petrol, and then you notice that the ignition key is in the ignition and the engine is running. So you're angry with Gordon. He's doing something stupid and dangerous. The natural thing to do is to shout at him aggressively and use must. Okay, number 2. Now we can see that this one also involves a negative. And look at the sentence. We're telling someone that something's not necessary. They can ring the doorbell if they want, but there's no need. I have a key. Ringing the doorbell is unnecessary. Okay, so we're going to use don't have to. We don't have to ring the doorbell. I've got a key. Great! Number 3. Okay, now with number 3, we're back in stupidity land. We can smell gas in the flat, and someone suggested that we try to find the gas leak with a cigarette lighter. This is obviously an incredibly stupid idea, an incredibly dangerous idea. So we're reacting in an angry, aggressive way. We're using must, but the negative form. You mustn't check for a gas leak with a cigarette lighter. You could destroy half the street, you fool! Okay, number 4. Now, with this one, we have to look at the end of the sentence to see the logic. I bought a window cleaning robot. The robot's name is probably Arthur. That sounds like a robot's name, no? Doesn't it? Anyway, the logic of the sentence is this. Now we've got a robot to clean the windows. So, you can let the robot clean the windows. If you love cleaning windows, then okay, clean the windows. But now that we have a robot called Arthur who cleans windows, it's not necessary for you to clean the windows. So, you don't have to. You don't have to clean the windows. I bought a window cleaning robot. Okay, and on we go to number 5. The Queen. I didn't know that she was allergic to potatoes. Okay, so it's a dramatic situation. It's full of tension. You want to make sure that no potatoes, not a single potato, not even a tiny bit of potato gets into the Queen's salad. If she eats just one potato, she'll die. That's right, we're using must. The Queen is allergic to potatoes. If she eats just one potato, she'll die. The chef mustn't put any potatoes in the salad. Okay, and what about number 6? Well, it's obligation, but it's not aggressive. My parents went to the cinema and I was told to stay at home and babysit. It's have to. My parents went to the cinema tonight. I have to stay and look after my younger brother and sister. And now, the final sentence. The ultimate question. Number 7. Well, my father is old enough to retire, and he's got enough money. So he's not required to work, and he doesn't need the money. There is no obligation for him to work. It's his choice. It's the negative of have to. My father is as old as the hills. He has enough money, so he doesn't have to work, but he still has a job. Brilliant! Okay, that's all we've got time for today. So I'll see you all next time. Have a great weekend, enjoy yourselves, and we'll meet again on Monday. Same time, same place. See you later. Bye.